Good job, buddy. Your baby. I'm gonna stroll over here, okay? Okay? Yeah, that's okay. Good job. Oh, we are going to be doing a show and tell today. So, if you have something that you would like to show, I'll see your message here. We'll get started. Of course, we'll kind of let people file in a little bit. I'm going to let everyone know that we're starting. But yes, we are going to do the show and tell and then get into the workshop. Right, buddy? Yes. Good job. But I need my hands though, okay? Can I have them please? Thank you. Thank you, little pup. Yep, and I'll go ahead and make a list here. This is the show and tell agenda. Are you yawning? You haven't even begun yet. Hold on, buddy. Get this pulled up, little buddy. This is going to be recorded for later viewing. I can also type this in. Check out the link in general. Where you are. Listen. You can't be messing up. Listen. Oh, you're knocking everything out, right? You gotta just chill out a little bit, okay? Yeah. Hello everyone. Welcome, welcome. We're still waiting on everyone to kind of file in a little bit. But of course, as usual, if anyone is interested in participating in show and tell, please let me know. We have our list going, and we will get started here in just a little bit. This will let me do it. Will you let me do it? You gonna lay down? Yeah, but you can't. Gotta lay down. Lay down if you're gonna lay down, buddy. Ooh. Lay down. Oh. Make all the way. Good job.
Is that a black lab, Tom?
She is. This is Miss Amber Rose. Hi, buddy. And, yeah, she's a lab. I think that she's a lab Weimaraner mimic. That's my hypothesis.
Oh, interesting.
But, yeah, I rescued her a few years ago, and, she's very spoiled, as you can see.
She looks very docile.
Yeah, she just got her dinner, so she's feeling pretty good.
That'll do it.
Well, everything I have here. I don't have my fancy streaming setup today. I don't have any cool colors or backgrounds or anything. I am working remotely, so you have to strip it down a little bit. So this is the more unfiltered, raw version of my broadcasts. So. And again, we'll just give it a few more minutes for everyone to kind of file in. And again, if anyone wants to do show and tell, please just post. We're in the text chat that's associated with this voice channel. That's where we're doing all of our chatting now. So just send a post there, and I will add you to the list.
Yeah, hey, how's it going?
Hey, going great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm just checking in. I'm actually working right now, so I'm not gonna be too late.
Cool. Working is good.
Check you guys out for me.
Yeah, and today, of course, is going to be a really cool thing. We're going to be going through the process of setting up a Steam page, and the back-end interface for how to do that, and that should be really cool.
The back-end interface stresses me out.
Hey, yes, I know that you now have experience for that. It's pretty messy, but it is nice. When you get everything set up, distributing builds on the different distribution channels and things is great. We're probably not going to get into too much of the like build backend stuff. Of course, we're going to be starting with like a brand new page, so all these need approval to actually be like visible and released. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's like the last part of it. That like the build.
Yeah,
you have to go all the way to the end.
Yeah. So we're probably going to be focusing more on like the front end side of things, like the art assets that we need and things of that nature. But we'll kind of show the entire interface just for people who might not be familiar with it or who haven't seen it before. I think this will be a pretty great experience. So yeah, I'm looking forward to jumping in and showing everyone.
Yeah, let's get more games released in Philly. Let's go. Do it.
Exactly. That is the hope. We want to give everyone resources, and again, with the game jam we just wrapped up, we're going to be offering the winning team the opportunity to get their game on Steam, and so hopefully this can serve a little bit of a reference to kind of can embrace everyone in terms of what may be coming, or what the process looks like of getting your stuff up on there.
It's a lot.
Yes, yeah. In the same way with any console, but
Yeah.
Yeah, was that the same thing?
The playtesting looks like it's going really well. Sorry, I cut you off, Tom.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, Kane, the playtesting looks like it's going. You have like
Oh.
30 people on it now.
Oh yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I'm really loving the fact that so many people were just so enthusiastic about playing it, like right off the bat.
Yeah.
You know, it's just this feeling of community. You know what I'm saying? Like people just want to help. They're interested, and it makes me think about like to actually sell a game. You know what I'm saying? You'd actually have some people that are just out there willing to support. It's a great feeling. So appreciate you guys and everyone involved.
I can tell you put like a ton of work into it, so that's cool. You're getting it just as much feedback back out. So
Right. Yeah, exactly. No, and I love to see that too. So yeah, like the amount of feedback that we're getting. Man, I can't.
are you just working on it like full time now?
But me, essentially, yeah. Like not full time, maybe like a little bit above part time, a little bit more than 20 hours a week.
Okay, I get you.
Maybe a little bit more than that. Maybe 30. But
Still
like,
a lot.
you know, yeah, it's quite a bit. You know, and yeah, like I really love that you pointed out that you noticed how much work I'm putting in. So, because you know,
Yeah, for sure.
I'll always, because like I don't ever really like wonder if the work that I put in is ever going to get like shown. Like it's shown. It's just like if someone points it out, it's like thank you. Like I can kind of feel like you were there with me when I was freaking trying to work on like one bug for a week. You know.
Yeah. I am a poor programmer, but I know I still, like I say, I feel your pain. Like I definitely tell that you're putting like, crazy work into it. So.
Yeah, I mean, we call it. Producers do the same thing. Composers do the same thing. You know, you'll have your problems to deal with.
It's true. Yeah. We're not like more often than not, we're not like the end all of like the final stop where all the feedback goes, though. But I guess sometimes, but yeah. Take that, never mind.
Yeah. I don't know if we get started here or not.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and get started here. And certainly, yes, any phase of development, showing any kind of work in any phase is always valuable for everyone in the community. So certainly, as everyone is developing their project, and we especially love to see projects through various phases of development. So definitely, if you show something kind of like pre-alpha and then come back and show us later, that would be awesome. So yeah, we're always happy to see progress at any stage of development. And I'm just getting one more thing here in preparation for our workshop, and then we'll go ahead and jump right into show and tell. Great. So I will also add you, Michael, to show and tell. And we'll probably wrap up show and tell for today. Great. Alright, again, let me get one last thing. Unzipping a file here.
I would just like to make one last comment before I mute myself real quick.
Go for it.
Like I just want to talk about Michael's track that he made a little bit ago. It was like this. I can't call it like an upgraded, but it was like this cool like glitch. It wasn't glitch hop, but it was like a glitch like track. And I like stuff like that because glitch hop is one of the genres that I listen to of like EDM music. That sounded nice, and I really appreciated the. You said you micro organized like those chords for the piano, so.
Yeah,
like
thanks. That's actually what I want to show.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll be peeking as you show that. You know what I'm saying, because I want to see what the notes look like, because that right there, that takes time.
For sure. Okay, great. Well, let's go ahead and I guess officially get started then. Welcome everyone. Thank you, and hopefully we continue to get people streaming in. We're also again streaming this on YouTube, I believe, and so if anyone wants to go back and watch this in the future, we're going to be covering a lot of really cool stuff today. So you can always go back and watch that YouTube video. We have that posted in the general channel here. Okay, well, without further ado, welcome to another exciting edition of Philly Game Mechanics, one of our virtual meetups here. I want to do a quick thank you / shout out to everyone who came to the last meeting 2 weeks ago. It was the Game Jam Showcase, and that was awesome seeing so many of you there, and also seeing all the games that everybody made. It was incredible. So thanks again everyone who participated both in the actual Game Jam itself, but also in showing up for the showcase. We had a lot of votes for all the games. We got to choose the winner, which is the really cool French name that I can't pronounce, but it's the dino on the unicycle with a flame and shadows and stuff. It's a really cool game. So thank you so much for participating in all that stuff. And welcome to the first meetup of August. We're going to go ahead and get started here with show and tell in just a minute. But before we do that, I, of course, want to kick off the meeting, as always, with a reminder. I'm going to share my screen. This is going to be a little bit different, again, from how I usually broadcast things. So bear with me here, as we have a little bit of a new setup. But I want to start by showing our code of conduct. Of course, this is really important because it's kind of the guiding principles for allowing everyone to be inclusive in this space and respecting all members from all backgrounds. We very much strive and welcome a diverse community of people from all different backgrounds, and this is really important set of guidelines to make sure that that is possible. And it's important to note that this certainly extends. We haven't had a physical space in quite a while, but it also extends to our digital space, the Discord that we're in right now. So please take a minute to familiarize yourself with this if you haven't already. And then also, as mentioned in the thing, we are streaming to YouTube right now. So if at any point you do not want to, if you want to contribute, but you do not want to participate in the stream, if you can just ping Woody, that would be super great, and we can make accommodations for that. But just know that this is being broadcast to a potentially wider audience, so just kind of keep that in mind as we participate tonight. And then in terms of other announcements, I don't think I have any. I don't know if anyone from IGDA Philly or if anyone from there has any announcements about this month's meeting or any other game events that are happening in Philly. Does anyone happen to know anything, any exciting events that are coming up in the surrounding Philly area for games?
I know of one.
Yeah?
Yeah, there's like this, what do you call it? It's called Toon. Hold on. I would have, I can post a flyer later on. Something happened August 19th. It's, I think it's some kind of convention. It's called Toon Mask. Yeah, that's what it's called.
Oh.
And, I know Rob and I will be showing off city murals,
Cool.
at that event, with a table. And to be honest, I'm not too sure about the details of the event, but I know it's like a game convention, anime convention. type event.
Awesome. And if you could definitely post that in,
Yeah.
we have a channel for the con talk is like the channel that we use for all different events and conventions and things of that nature. That would be awesome. I don't know if I've heard of that event, so I would love to hear more about it. And of course, any opportunity for people to broadcast or not broadcast, but showcase their game at local events is amazing.
Yeah,
so
that is actually
great. All right. Well, thank you so much for that info. And yeah, certainly as anyone finds out about more opportunities happening in the area, in and around the area, yeah, just go ahead and post in either general or con talk. That's really important. A really, really important housekeeping note is I made the executive decision of adding a new pet channel called Critters. So if you have cute pictures of pets or various animals or critters that you see, please post them because I think that's going to be a really important channel. But yeah, I think other than that, I don't think we have any big announcements. So in terms of the time limitations for show and tell, we try and keep these as short as possible. Ideally, if we can keep them within 5 minutes of presentation and then like 5 minutes of Q&A and discussion, that's ideal. We have a little bit of a lighter schedule today for the show and tell, and so it's totally okay if we go a little bit over those. But in general, we try and keep them pretty short and snappy so we can make sure that everybody has an opportunity to showcase and get some feedback on their work. All right, and so I think with that, again, we're going to get into the main event for tonight. Is going to be kind of covering the process of setting up a Steam game and the back-end interface of that and what it looks like. And so we'll be going through that together, and that will be kind of the main content. But we always like to start our meetings with a show and tell section, which gives everyone in the community an opportunity to show all the amazing stuff that they've been working on and get some feedback in case they're looking for specific feedback or advice or just want to show off what they're doing. So with that said, I think we have 2 presenters today who are going to be participating in show and tell. And so with that said, I think if you all are ready, we can go ahead and start with our first presenter. You ready?
I believe I am.
Perfect. Go ahead.
If you okay, so let me see if I can share this specifically. Yes, no, maybe so. Okay. It doesn't look like I can share the screen, the game section specifically, unless. Hold on a moment. You know it does. I can. Hold on. Okay. So, as you can see, this is my pre-alpha. I put instructions on how to control it so that people could test it out, that I wanted to try it, but it's currently not, it's currently hidden away on itch.io somewhere. Okay, so what I have been trying to do, which is like an insane idea or concept, was to categorize different ability types and then make it so that it's easy for me as a developer and players as a player eventually to be able to develop their own within a certain set of criteria. And so I did that whole categorization and ended up with this sort of like action RPG platform-ish thing, which I'm hoping to use for my first game system. So you have different combos that are based off of how I say the combo attacks, which are based off of whether you're using your martial skills or whether you're using your power-based abilities. All these animations are basically placeholder animations to make sure that everything is working in the system, basically. Also, like I have a demonstration of all the things I've gone, all the systems I've gone through. So you have a sort of bullet time effect, as you can see. But if you have the bullet time effect, that's how you activate your more special abilities. So regular attacks is like this, but if you want to activate your special abilities, you do this. Oh, it's not working. Now it's working. Got it. Or you can do this. Different techniques have different effects. For example, that's a regular technique, but if I switch this over, there's a secondary technique. Come on, is it working? Is it not working? No, it's not working. Come on. Oh, there it is. Now it's working. So this is a secondary technique. It will only do the second attack if the first attack hits. Things like that. And then if I cycle through the other one, you can do beam attacks and explosions. So many different abilities I've come up with. Not all of them can actually have active hitboxes currently because of the system. I changed the system slightly of how the hitboxes work so that it's more customizable for me. But that left all of them being like, what's going on? So here's another example. Explosions, different things like that. And the little particles as a very recent system that I just finished, which basically absorbs, takes stamina and mana or action points, I call it, from enemies and then brings it to the player. But that has not shown up on the UI just yet. I have yet to put that up on UI. I just wanted to get that to work. It seems like it's working correctly. What's the other thing? I have so many different kinds of abilities, but that's just a demonstration of what they would look like, and just to make sure that all of them were working properly, including creating structures like this. And lastly but not least, oh yeah, there's some other passive things that do additional damage. The menu for building the system is another thing I'm working on recently. So the weaving is creating new abilities. Tactics is applying abilities to the tactical abilities, like what I just demonstrated. Patterns is something that's upcoming. I won't talk about that until I finish that one. And formations are basically what I call the regular attack combos. So weaving is the one that I finished the most, and it's the most beautiful. So I'm going to show that one. This is basically a representation of a character's power, a symbol representing their power. And you go through and choose core to represent the ability type that you're taking, or that's thematic to the character, and then choose from the different categories. Imperatives is core abilities, sage strikes are martial abilities, sage arts are power abilities, and sage shots are ranged weapon abilities. And then they have subcategories from there. I'll go through the little very simple process for that to show how it looks like. And then when you have a new discovery, it will come up there. Now the menu system is not entirely complete, so I'll just exit out from it for now. But that's how you discover new abilities. Once you have a resource, you're able to get that. I think that's all I can demonstrate for now. But if there are any questions, I'd be happy to take them.
Hey, this looks awesome. I had a question. I see it looks like you're working in Construct 3 for this project.
Yes, I am.
Awesome. I've only ever worked in Unity and Unreal, but I'd love to hear anything you can speak about with your experience working in Construct, because I know I've had a few friends and acquaintances working in Construct. And I'm curious to hear your impressions and what you think the engine does well, and what you wish it would do better, or just any general thoughts on the tools you're using.
Okay, so I would not say that I'm the best person when it comes to being objective about Construct, because Construct is literally the first engine I have ever used, and every other engine has been more confusing than Construct to me. Now, the thing that I like that has kept me using Construct as opposed to Unity, which I tried to use, has mainly been the ease at which they were able to make a visual scripting for programming. I am not a programmer. I do not aspire to be a programmer. Programming gives me a headache. It's one of the few things that gives me a headache. So I have basically been using it mostly to try and learn the system and improve on it, and then develop my own system within it. And I'm glad I'm succeeded at it, which shows, I guess, the power of that system. There's downsides to it, is that a lot of the things that I wanted to make sure sorry, let me figure out how to phrase this. The way I had set this up required a lot of third-party involvement in developing not apps, add-ons to the system itself. So for example, in Construct, they don't have any blank objects. So previously, I had to use different things within Construct to make objects that would store information, which is how this system works. It's all about using blank information that you take from a database, information about different abilities and different skills and whatever off of that. And previously I didn't have blank objects to work with. And I had to find a third party which created a global blank object for me to be able to create for that, which has the ability to withdraw the information as inbuilt in the system. And then the ability to use spine animations is another thing that was more recently added. And I have connections with the person who made that add-on. So if he's able to help me run through any problems I have, which is helpful. But if it was inbuilt as part of the system, it would have been much easier. That's what drew me to Unity, because I knew those things were in Unity. But I cannot wrap my head around Unity's system, and I didn't really find any of the visual scripting systems to be as intuitive as the one for Construct. So that's why I used that. And honestly, I've been more focused on 2D than 3D, but they've just recently, as you've seen, added 3D to the system. So the 2.5D was what I wanted anyway, so it works with what I wanted to do. Other than that, I would just say it's probably one of the most straightforward things for a non-programmer that I've ever had to deal with. So if you're not a programmer and you want to try out games, especially if you want to do small things, like figure out how things work in games, Construct is at the very least a good start to see if this is what you want to continue in, because up to a certain amount of actions, it's free, and then you have to pay a fee. So, sorry if that's a long spiel, but that's my viewpoint of it.
No, that's great. Thanks so much for that explanation. That makes a ton of sense for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Do we have any other questions here?
I was actually going to ask if this was 3D, because the platforms look like they're 3D, but you sort of answered that question already.
Yeah, I don't have any image textures to cover them yet, but they recently added 3D, and that allows for different sort of 2.5D platforming. The Z-axis is also added, so you can move things back and forth. They added that before I did before they added 3D, and that alone made me want to use Construct 3 over Construct 2, which is what I used before. So is the character model also 3D, or is it a 2D character locked to a certain spot on the Z-axis and only moving in the X and Y? It's only moving in the X and Y. I have another thing where it's moving in the Z, or it's like a sort of illusion where it's moving in the X and Y, but it looks like it's moving in the Z axis. But I wanted to have a sort of 2.5D perspective in my games anyway. with some ability to, like, when you're going back into a cavern or something, it looked like you're going into through the z-axis, things like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I was mostly focused on the 3D of the 2D for the 3D elements being environmental, or like stage elements.
Right on. The character model itself, though, is a 3D model.
No, it's a 2D model.
It's a 2D model. Okay.
It's animated in Spine, which is a modular animation program, and the modular animation stuff if you do it really well, it can look like it's 3D, but it's actually 2D. Just due to like warping and meshing and mesh manipulation and things like that.
I honestly
why I
could
wanted to
not
use
tell.
Really? Thank you.
I could not tell. Yeah, if it was 3D or 2D.
Thank you. Yeah, I also use another reason why I wanted to have 3D the z-axis is because I wanted to use that with some of the abilities that I had came up with. I have a category of power-based abilities called what's it called? Blindside, where it's hitting someone with a hitbox that flies from off the z-axis, so it's technically off of an angle that they can normally not see, sort of thing. So that's the idea. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you all for taking a look at what I'm working on. Hopefully, next time I'll have more to show about patterns, which is what I wanted to. I'm very much looking forward to doing that. Because that when I first worked on this, that was what I did, and then I was like, I don't have anything to back this up. It's not working. It's breaking apart. That sort of thing. So I had to build it up again. So
that's awesome. Yeah. Please come back and continue to update us on this project. It looks still great so far, and definitely so much potential from what we've seen. So, yeah, please come back and show. This is awesome.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Thanks so much again. Clap, clap, clap. I'm imagining everyone's clapping and applauding. Okay, great. Thanks again, and we'll go ahead and move to our second and last show and tell presenter of the night. You want to take it away? Go ahead.
Yes, I'll take it away. Let's see. I just want to show real quick a musical kind of dissection, reinterpretation that I finished. Share your screen. I want people to see reason and not we go into this. It should be like a bunch of gray and green. Everybody can see that? Maybe?
Yep, we can see it.
Yep.
Cool. Alright, so this is a DAW digital audio workstation called Reason. I worked on there's a song from Ori, the first Ori game, at the beginning of the game called Ori Lost in the Storm, by Gareth Coker is the composer. And I did like a piano version. Let me zoom out the whole project. I did a piano version, and I just basically played like a 7 or 8 second piano phrase and then chopped it up like hundreds and hundreds of times and made like a song out of it by pitching it up and down and stretching it out. And let me show you what I mean, and I'll try to explain it quickly without having it be too insane and like confusing. So I'll play just, let me scroll over here. I'll play just, actually let me take this first. I'll play just the initial piano part. I mean, this is like, this little sliver here is actually a 1 millisecond length clip of it. If I drag it out, the whole thing will show up. Let me just delete this one real quick. I'll drag this out all the way, and I'll play it. Hopefully you can hear it. So that's what it sounds like, the whole thing. And then I basically copied, shrank this all the way down to 1 millisecond, and then kind of stacked them next to one another. So this one is, up here you can see the length. It says 0002, it's 2 milliseconds. The next one is 00030, so 30 milliseconds, and then 49, and 60, and then eventually it gets to tenth of a second there, and at some point it gets to maybe like a whole second right there almost. And so anyway, it sounds, when they're all played like that, if I zoom in on this 1 millisecond clip of it, it just sounds like, literally just sounds like a tick. It just sounds like this. Maybe you can't hear it, but it sounds almost like nothing. But when I drag them all out and make each one of them consecutively slightly longer, it sounds like a song forming out of nothing, kind of. So it sounds like this. So I'll play the original one again. It's the same thing. I just cut it out. I cut out the spaces. So. So that's just the whole. These 50 little gray blocks are just this one long one, copied and pasted a bunch of times, and then I started them at different points in the waveform. Essentially, if you hold down, let me do an example. If you hold down a piano key, say you take a piano key and you hold it down for a few seconds, 5 seconds, and then you record it, and then you go into your computer and then you take that 5-second clip of your piano holding piano sustained key and start it at like second 3 or something like that. That's kind of the idea. So here's what the notes sounded like on a different sample that I used for the song. And what that looks like when it's bounced to audio, which is the waveform, is this here. It's the same exact thing. But if I go and I loop it really quickly over and over again in a really specific spot, it's like, okay, I like that. That's something. So I'll use my razor tool and I'll cut this and I'll copy it. I'll paste it a bunch of times. Now that's like something. And maybe I can do every 4th one. I'll pitch it up an octave. Maybe that sounds like something, maybe. So that's essentially what I did with this piece. And I'll play like a minute of it. I won't play the whole thing, but I'll play like I'll play like 30 seconds of it, not to bore everybody, to kind of see. Let me close. All these little extra bits are like me automating the panning and the stereo width and like equalizers and all this other stuff. So let me minimize all that and just go over like right to the musical data, and hopefully I don't need to like use my scroll around the project too much while it's playing to like give you an idea of what sound is coming out of what channel. So I'll just play it. I'll just play the first minute or so. So it gives you an idea. So the downside of this, I think it sounds amazing. It's really cool. The downside is it's incredibly CPU intensive because these are all essentially the same track copied and pasted like 300 times. Because the computer saves it as the whole thing. So if you shrink it down, more often than not, it's still the whole thing when you pull it back out. And so that's like the main downside. And I think this file is like close to 1 gigabyte, which is like humongous. But the upside is you get really in there and use the Razor tool and do like crazy micro editing that you wouldn't be able to do with like a randomizer. And maybe it doesn't sound as amazing as like high-tech, super expensive sample library, but it's something that's like, it's yours, and it's when you get really that deep in the nitty-gritty with editing, you can like make it really personalized and stylized, and yeah. So that's my rant about that. Now I'll stop sharing my screen.
Yay, that's awesome. Very, very cool. Do we have any questions coming in? I think I saw one from Alex. So what, if anything, meaningful determines what grain plays at a specific point in the piece?
Oh, yeah, grain. So by grain, Alex means anything less than 1/10 of a second is basically a grain. What determines what grain plays? I just basically whatever sounds good, whatever I think sounds nice, is what I will. As long as the melody is somewhat recognizable, and I think it sounds good, then yeah, that's basically it.
So does it have any particular bearing on what the original piece would have, or where it would have been in the original piece? Or the original?
Yeah, to an extent it does. The original piece is only like 45 seconds or so, and so
yes.
The original piece is it's about like a storm, and the main character gets blown away in the wind, and so I wanted to make it
a wonderful intro to that game. It's very good.
Yeah, so I wanted to make it sound like kind of like a storm with like the little clicks sound like pitter patter of like raindrops and stuff. So I wanted to kind of like make it like a meta analysis of like the storm within like the aesthetic of the whatever genre of music you could call this, basically.
Gotcha.
How long did it take to cut up all those little, all those little chunks of audio?
Takes forever.
Looks like it takes forever. So is there any way to just like trim off all the extra saved, unused stuff with that, or will it always be this sort of super CPU intensive thing?
With this method, there's not really. With this particular method and like in this DAW, there's not really a way to. You need to go in and manually go into every single one and cut it, and like you can do this thing called save and optimize, and it like deletes extra stuff, but a lot of the times it doesn't know what's extra stuff and what isn't, so it deletes things you don't want it to. But this took me probably like from start to finish, it took me probably like 300 hours, which is like a lot. But
that's crazy. That's awesome. When you export it though at the end, right, as like a whatever, as a wave or an MP3 or whatever,
yeah.
Is it then it loses all that extra information, right, at that point? Okay.
Yeah, so the wave is only like 45. It's only like 45 megs, but the project itself is like 890 or something like that. But yeah, when you export it, wave file it's like 45, and MP3 is like 6 or 7. These MP3s are a lot smaller. Yeah, so that's all I got.
Awesome stuff. Any other questions?
Thank you for indulging me.
Oh, one last question. How many musical instruments do you play?
Good question. I can kind of fudge my way through like, I don't know, a dozen. I play bass guitar. Bass guitar is the only instrument I play well. Because I've been playing it for 20 years. I can't play piano at all. It's just I fake it. It's all fake.
Oh, I know that feeling.
Things are
Perfect,
straight
perfect.
easier. So
It's pretty good for faking. Yeah, I agree. You fake it very well. I agree. I agree. Awesome stuff. Thank you so much for sharing. And do you have, is that track, did someone say it was posted somewhere? Is it like in a show-off channel or something? The full track?
yeah, it's in the show off. I think the
Perfect.
whole thing. Yeah, it's in the show off channel. Yeah.
Yes, I see it right here. So if anyone's interested in hearing the roughly 3-minute track, it is right there in the show-off channel. Definitely go and check that out. And yeah, awesome stuff. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thanks.
All right. Again, always so great to see what everyone in the community is working on from all different disciplines and all different creative walks. So yeah, thanks so much everyone again for sharing. And now we're going to go ahead and jump into the main event for tonight, which is talking about getting a page listed up on Steam. So I don't know if we want to like timestamp this or something for anyone who wants to jump in later, but yeah, we'll go ahead and let me take just a minute to get things set up. I think I have all my links here. Some caveats before I really get into all of this is that this process, of course, is very involved and it's really involved from kind of two components. It's really involved from an art front-end marketing kind of perspective, and it's really involved from a development perspective and making sure that you have the right builds, the executables, the right technological setup. I'm going to be using kind of like a basic empty sample type project on the back end of Steam here, and so I'm not really going to get to go through the whole process of like uploading builds and setting up like the technical side of things. We can walk through together what those interfaces look like and talk about what you need to actually upload those things. But I would like to, as much as possible, show things kind of hands-on as we're going through and doing this and constructing this kind of fake Steam listing together. But just kind of know that we're not really going to get to actually upload the actual executables and go through that whole process, just because of the limitations that we have, both in terms of timing, but also in terms of like having accessible builds ready to go and upload onto Steam. And so yeah, I think I guess before we get started, please, I guess I'll keep the chat open here. If I can actually see, there it is. I'll keep the chat open. If you have any questions at any time, please feel free to either go ahead and type in here, or if you would like to just shout it out in the voice chat, feel free to just kind of jump in and say, hey, here, I have a question real quick. Could you explain this further or something like that? I am by no means an expert on this process. I've gone through it a few times with my studio and on other projects. And so I feel somewhat familiar with the interface, but it's always one of those things where I kind of get in and have to click around a whole bunch. So this isn't necessarily going to be like a straightforward tutorial. It's just going to be looking at the back end. A lot of people probably haven't gotten to see the actual back end user interface of what it's like to upload things. So yeah, we'll kind of walk through that together. And yeah, Kanan, that would be super awesome if you would like to kind of jump in and show what the actual process of uploading a build is. That would be really, really cool. So yeah, just kind of ping me when you're ready to do that, and it would be awesome to be able to see someone actually go through the process of uploading a build and such. So yeah, thanks so much for offering to do that. That would be amazing for the community to see. All right. So again, we're gonna just kind of take a tour around all of the backend interface here. And again, if anyone has any questions at any time, let me know. This is where everything starts at the partner.steamgames.com website. I'm already logged in, but you would need to sign in with your Steam account. And I believe it just takes a normal Steam account, and then you, from what I'm remembering, you have to kind of go through like a whole kind of further sign up process. But I think it also actually does take a normal Steam account. At least that's what I'm assuming, because I know that you can grant permission to Steam users to be added as developers and contributors, and they all go through the same portal. So I believe that's how that works. If I'm wrong on that, that's a great way to start this kind of workshop, but hopefully not. When you finally get in and you have your account all ready to go and everything, you're treated to the Steamworks interface, and this is kind of your portal to getting into development. The first thing you would do if you were a developer in creating your application is pay the Steam direct fee. I believe it is still $100. We can click on this though and see, does it say the price? I believe it's still $100. I don't want to click in there because that has my payment information. And I don't necessarily want to stream that on the internet, so I'm not going to do that. But I believe it's $100. Yeah, we're getting confirmation in the chat. And you pay the $100 to have your game listed on Steam. And the great thing is, if your game makes back, I think it's the $100. Is it that if you make back the... See, I didn't do my homework yet. If you make back, I think it's the $100, then you get a refund on that $100. You get reimbursed that $100. Oh no, sorry, it's not 100. See, here I am. It's $1,000. So if your product makes $1,000, then you recoup the Steam Direct fee, and you basically get that included in one of your payments. So you can make that money back. It is not forever gone, but it is charged just like any other kind of Steam purchase. Pay the $100, and then you get one of these, which is an unreleased app. It'll ask you for your application's name, and you can kind of go from there. For this workshop, I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do, because I don't necessarily have like a new game that's like really ready to go on Steam or anything like that. So I decided to use a game that I have shown many times throughout development, which is probably not going to go on Steam. Maybe one day it would. I'd have to convert it from being a mobile game to working in like a landscape version and having all that stuff work. But this is a trivia game that I've been making because I love puppies, and you have to guess what kind of puppy it is. There's lots of different types of mini games. There's one where you rank them by height or weight. There's a spelling mini game where you have to know what the name is and how to spell it. It's a lot harder than it sounds when you have something like, even like a greyhound, which I always spell with an A instead of an E, and that gets me confused every single time. But yeah, so this is a really simple kind of casual game. Again, probably isn't going to be released on Steam because it's intended to be released on mobile, and that's, I think, where it makes most sense. But as a point of reference and for setting things up, I already have some marketing language and some things kind of in my mind about how I want to do the marketing and things. And so I think this would be a great candidate for just using this as a template as we're walking through, filling in information. We can use this as kind of like our go-to. So just everyone imagine right now that you are helping develop this game and you are getting ready to put it on Steam. And that's going to be the role-playing situation that we do here. So when you create, you pay your Steam Direct fee, and you then have a new unreleased app. Yay, let's go click it and see what happens. And by the way, I should point out, there's also all kinds of news things that you can find here. I don't think any of this is NDA'd. I don't know. If it is, I'm sorry, Steam. No one tell, okay? And then there's the SDK, and you can edit lots of company information and things of that nature. All right, great. We click on our application, and you can see that there are kind of like 3 main categories that we have here. The first is preparing our actual store presence, or the store listing, how it appears on the store page itself. That has its own kind of category here. And then we have a game build. So that's, again, the actual executable that is downloaded by your audience. And then when you have all those things, you have your release. It is really important to note that there are 2 review processes, one for your store page and one for your game build. We have failed in the past to both of these at different times. And so there is, I think a lot of people, especially when I started getting into Steam development, I'd always heard that it was this Wild West, that there was no kind of oversight or regulation or anything like that. And that might be kind of true, but it's also not 100% true, because I have certainly been on the receiving end of rejected applications and rejected store listings. So there are rules and kind of suggestions and things that you should follow to actually get your things approved. In my experience, it says here for the actual store page that you should probably allow like 2 or 3 business days. For a real human, I think it's a real human, sits down and looks at your thing and says, yeah, this looks okay, or no, you need to revise this content, maybe it's not appropriate, maybe it doesn't have enough content, it's not descriptive enough. That was one thing that we got flagged on, it was unclear what the game was, even though I thought it was very, very clear, but that's a whole other story. And then in my experience, it does take, right around like 2 days or so, 2 business days. So something to kind of keep in mind in terms of timing. None of this is going to be immediate, as we'll see. And then when you have that ready to go, then you actually do need to upload your game build. And that will also need a manual review process that can take, they say again on here, between 3 and 5 business days. Again, we've had it probably take closer to like 2 to 3. It happened to go pretty quickly as soon as we had uploaded all of that. And really important to note, I believe it still works this way in all of our experience. It's continued to work this way. As soon as your store page is reviewed and is approved and is accepted, any update that you do to the store page, I believe, is not reviewed. So that is where it turns a little bit into like the Wild West. Because I believe that as soon as you update it and it has been reviewed, you can kind of put whatever you want in there. So that's a little bit of like a workaround for getting past some of the initial review things. And the same actually, I believe, with the build as well. I believe the first version of the build that is approved, you get it approved, and then you can update it to kind of do whatever. So again, it becomes a little bit more open as soon as you get past these initial review things. Something that's really important to note is that your release date must be 2 weeks after your store page has been visible. So this is really important because it's not like you can just set up a store page and say, yep, I'm ready to go, I have my thing reviewed, it's done, I'm going to release tomorrow. No, you aren't, because you need to have your game page listed up on Steam for at least 2 weeks. And so if you're planning a very specific date, please in your release schedule, build in that your game needs to be up and visible on Steam for at least 2 weeks. This is something that we were running into our last production when we knew that we wanted to have it released at a certain day, and we hadn't announced the game yet because we were kind of waiting till the last minute because we wanted to have it where it was a very short window between when we announced it versus when it was it was live. You got to keep this in mind, because you could just kind of set up and what we ended up doing is having the page go live and just kind of not telling anyone. And Steam is so large, and there are so many like new postings that happen like probably every second, that no one really saw our store page. And so we just decided, hey, we'll do that and not announce the game, and then when we're ready, officially announce it. And by that point, the Steam page will already be up and ready to go. And we can update it to say whatever we want to do. And it's counting towards the 2 weeks that we needed to have it up. So that's just a really, really, really important aspect to remember as you're thinking about your release date. It also says stuff about COVID-19, and there could be delays in reviewing these things. In our experience, again, we haven't seen any like major delays. So, all right. Those are like the two main parts. Again, is you have your store page and then you have your build. And so just kind of keep all that in mind in relationship to the release date as well. So on the right-hand side, you'll see that I very sadly already have some green things. I wanted to start with like completely no green things, and we could go through everything. But again, for some of the game building things, just to even get to this point, I guess I already had some like depot stuff and configuration stuff already set up, but we'll try and walk through some of those things. This is your main checklist on the right. When you get a big green check on the header of this one, then you will be allowed to submit your store page for review, which is really exciting. And then when you get a big green check mark for your game build, then you are free to have your game build submitted for review. And then when both of those are approved, you will be approved for release, but of course minding that your release date needs to again be at least 2 weeks after your Steam page has been like visible as coming soon on the store. And so the first thing you can do, of course, is set your release date. And again, it reiterates the 2 weeks. So we could go ahead and set this to be, I don't know, October 3rd. Great. And we go ahead and update that. And it will say, yes, now our release date is October 3rd, 2022. You can also choose the time. I don't know if I chose a time. I guess I didn't. Oh yeah, you can choose a time. I have no idea what the like standard time, release time is on Steam. I guess it just depends on when you want people to see your game in like the new releases thing, which they'll see for probably like a minute because again, there are so many Steam games released every hour basically. But you can choose what hour you want this released. They're all, I believe, in Pacific time. So if you're on Eastern, that's 3 hours difference there. So great. So I have officially selected a release date. Yay, I get a check. Awesome. And so an easy way of instead of even navigating through all these things, which we can do, and I probably will do, but if you're ever missing something, this is a really great way, again, of just jumping around and seeing what you need to fill in. So I'm actually just going to use exactly that, and it'll kind of take me down this entire thing. We'll need to go through all of these. This is going to be starting on the front end side of things. And so again, this is going to be a lot of like text and pictures and things like that. We might save some of the actual pictures because I have templates. I'll show how that all works. But I mean, starting with like the very basics, right? The name of this game is called Top Dog Trivia, as you can see. And so that is the game that the name that I've done. We Are Gossamer Games is my company that's developing it. And you need a developer, you need a publisher. It's always been interesting to me that you can just kind of like type this in and just put whatever. It is a great explanation for why so many times I'll see that a developer or a publisher will have like multiple profiles or something. And I assume it's just because they're typing in their name or something slightly different in any of these, which is strange, but yeah, you definitely do need a developer and you need a publisher. So if you're developing your own thing and publishing your own thing, then of course you would put the same for both. Of course, you can put a website URL if you have one. If anyone has forums anymore, I don't know where you would have a forum in today's day and age, but you could put that there. Stats URL, I don't even know what that means, to be honest. What would a stats URL mean? Maybe that's like a leaderboard URL or something, I don't know. And then your manual, if you have a like game manual, that would be really cool. If you have a Metacritic entry, you would set that to match your name. Of course, mine is not going to be on here because it's not published, but if I did something like... do any of my games come up? Probably not. Well, that's sad. They're on Metacritic, I know they are. Okay, well, maybe not. Maybe none of my games are on Metacritic. But if you type your thing in, you would, want to match the Metacritic entry. And I believe that even Metacritic might even auto-populate from some of these things. So, important to get that right. If you have a Discord server, I feel like that's kind of new. Oh, I feel like that's pretty new. I actually haven't seen that when I was just doing this recently. So that's kind of a new thing. That's great. Why you would put that there and not in your social media links is kind of strange to me. Why wouldn't they have like a little Discord icon there instead of putting it here? I don't really know, but it's interesting. And then, I guess if you have, your Steam Deck compatibility, if you have like a post or something, you could add that there for anyone who has a Steam Deck. I don't know if anyone here has one. And then, of course, all your social media accounts you put in there. Keywords, this is, you can already see that I've, and some of these are actually, this is a great part about working on like multiple dog-themed things, is we already have some tags that would probably work. So these are keywords that they may use when they're searching, that customers may use when they're searching for a game. And so they have an example of kind of iterations on a certain spelling of a game. So, for instance, Left 4 Dead, they, of course, have the actual... Well, they actually, I don't think, put the real product name here, but they put the iterations, right? So if someone's typing L4D, right? Or just any acronym kind of. And then, of course, things like zombies and stuff like that. You could put all of that stuff in here. And then, of course, you need your supported platforms. So are you doing Windows or are you doing Mac and then, of course, Linux and then SteamOS as well. And then you need to put all your minimum specs. What I usually do, because I don't know how to even do minimum specs or recommended specs, because, and I assume that if you're an indie developer, you also probably don't have a really great way, unless you've done a lot of profiling and optimization, to understand what type of hardware your game is going to run on very well. I usually try and find like an equivalent game that's come out in a similar time frame and has similar graphics and performance and things of that nature. And I kind of like use my very favorite thing, which is to look at another Steam page and say, okay, so what's another like trivia game? Well, this is the first thing that comes up when we do trivia, so this must be great. Trivia Tricks. It is a fairly new game, October 27th, 2020. I haven't heard of this game. It's an early access, so that's awesome. And they actually have a really great Steam page, a lot of media on here. So I go ahead and look at what they do here, and I usually kind of like, if it makes sense, what they're saying, I can usually kind of see what they're doing and take a page out of their book. Is one method. If you, of course, actually know your stats, that would be even better. But an important thing that you can note is that in your release date, instead of saying coming soon, you can actually show a custom string. So let's see if they've done this. Well, I mean, they're on early access, so theirs is kind of different. If we did like, popular upcoming, yes, I mean, you can see here that this one has overwritten the release date to say this Friday instead of an actual release date, or instead of saying coming soon. So you can actually enter in anything that you want there. I've seen some people get pretty creative with that. So that's a thing you could do. Something about adult content, I've never had to worry about that. If you do, then you have to fill out this mature content survey, and good luck, because I don't know anything about that. Hopefully there's no adult content in our very wholesome dog trivia game. That would be an absolute disaster. So you have your supported languages, of course, and so in this game we haven't localized things, because localizing a bunch of dog breed names is really hard to do, because all the breeds are different in different languages. So we're only doing English, so we would do the interfaces being that our audio would also be English. We don't really have any spoken dialogue or anything like that, but we'd put that, and then subtitles we don't really have, so we wouldn't even put that. But in terms of players, of course, you just fill out, this is a single player game, we don't have any multiplayer things. In terms of supported features, I do want to make a note that this can be kind of important. We've gotten caught a few times by saying, for instance, that you have Steam achievements. You better make sure that your Steam achievements are like there. If you have a cloud saving, you better make sure that your cloud saving is there in the build that you're submitting, because they will be looking for some of those things. So that's pretty important. In terms of genre, of course, we'd say this is like a casual thing. I believe you can choose multiple. I don't know, we could choose like a casual event or casual indie, and we'd say that casual is like our main genre. Tags, I will get into just a second. That's actually one of the more interesting parts of all of this. It's using the tag wizard system that Steam has, and so we'll walk through that in just a second, but I'll leave that for right now. And then controller support, similar to the supported features. This is actually really important, because our game, when it has failed being reviewed for the build process, the build review process, it's been because of our controller support, and it's been because there's a surprising level of detail that they have paid attention to our controller support, to the point where they seemingly played the game for a decent amount of time, or at least trying to find like all the menus inside of our game, because whoever reviewed our title was able to get into like a sub menu of another menu and find that you couldn't navigate using controller to like one of the other things, and so they said, all right, you can't do this because you don't have actual full controller support, because you can get stuck. This page is still on the basic info of the store page admin. This isn't the back-end page, this is the store page admin. So what I like to recommend is when you're first submitting your very first build of the game, I like to say that you have partial controller support, and then Steam reviews it and says, okay, great, you have some controller support. And then as soon as they approve it, if you feel confident, you can go ahead and switch it to full controller support. And again, from what I understand, they don't really re-review it. So if you want to avoid any risk, that might be one of my insider recommendations. Unless you just feel really, really confident that you have complete full controller support, and then go for it. But if you're using third-party DRM, that's, put the information there. And if you require using like third-party non-Steam accounts, I don't know what you would do that for, but you would need to link that in. And then any legal lines, and usually you would put something like, let's see if they have anything here. It's usually something like copyright, who made this, Anthony Case, 2022, or some kind of generic copyright line. Maybe we can even find one like let's look at this frog gun. This looks really cute. Wow. Oh, that's cool. It's like slow motion, like, oh. See, the things that you find there's so much stuff on Steam. Has someone seen this before? Sounds like they have. Making it for 4 or 5 years, yeah, I certainly believe it. Oh yes, here is their maybe it's just my sunglasses. No, it's kind of still faint. There is their legal lines. So, you take that and you say, it's this and it's, Top Hat Studio. Oh, do they have like a publisher? Is that? Oh, they do. Look at that. Well, good for them. So anyway, that would be like where you put your legal things. So, and then of course you do need contact info. So a website that customers could reach out to, the email address, and of course the phone number. All right, great. This is all like just the first part of everything. I want to get into the tag wizard because this is actually a really cool thing that is super, super important to cover in terms of discoverability. Because the way that this tag wizard will work is not in this more from Top Hat Studios. Pretend that doesn't exist. But in this more like this section, it is all about the like algorithms. This is how the algorithms are like, oh, this is what your game is like. And it tries to group games accordingly and say, oh, you really like Spyro, maybe you will like this Frogun game. And so it's really, really important to kind of take some time to do this correctly. Someone posted a while ago a really great free walkthrough that was a much better, more polished version of what we're doing here, that was talking about best practices and how to try and please the algorithm gods. And they came up with this really great exercise for kind of planning out your tags and what you want to do for them. And so I won't go through like the entire exercise, but in a really quick amount of time, because I do want to try and cover a decent breadth of this. This game has a lot of DLC. So we're not going to use that as a reference. But simply trivia, television trivia. We will use... Does that have like... This has no user reviews, so maybe we shouldn't use that as a great example. Maybe this one, the trivia tricks, is like the best thing to use. So we'll use this as our example. What they have, the really great, if someone could also like, maybe I'll dig and try and find the exact post that had the link to the really good workshop. But what they suggested doing was, of course, finding their capsule. We'll get into like the art side of things here in a little bit. But they suggest getting, of course, the URL and getting the short description, which this one is actually pretty long. From what I've seen, for a lot of the short descriptions, they tend to be actually even shorter than this. And then tags. And so this is really important because this gets into exactly what we're talking about. So if you... Nope, that is not what I wanted. If you click on this little plus button here on any Steam game, any Steam listing, you can see that here are all the popular tags that are defined for this game. So of course we don't care about early access, because I wouldn't be launching this in early access, but we have cartoon, comedy, colorful, trivia, casual. The trivia one would actually be a really great tag for me to look at and see, are there other ones that are like, I guess, what's the top seller? Okay, well, it's all Jackbox. That makes sense. It's quiz time. I like this. Is that like, it looks like Elsa or something. It's quiz time. And we can look at their tags too. So they have casual indie strategy. Trivia, casual indie strategy. So the whole idea is that you go and do like trivia, casual, indie, strategy, so on and so forth, etc. And you'd find the top 3 games that you think are most similar to you. When you want people to think of, what is this game like? Oh, it's like this, but my game is different somehow. But you want to be in the same comparison. They suggested going through and getting all the tags that are associated with that game, or taking the 3, and then cross-finding the top, I think it was the top 5. And are those tags listed in the order of popularity, or the order that they wrote them? Maybe impossible to answer. I believe these are user-defined tags for the product, but this is where the tag wizard comes in, because when you do the tag wizard, you can select up to 20 Steam tags associated with your title, and then you prioritize your tags, and the top and the 20 tags will help Steam determine where your game is kind of provided in the algorithms and things. And so I don't know, I have to like double check and see if these tags are only the user ones. I feel like though, you do start with a number of tags that are kind of visibly shown. I could be wrong. If we find like a new, like a brand new, not new and trending, but like a brand new Ashen Will. We're not gonna trigger epilepsy, please. So you can see that it has no user reviews, so it probably doesn't have any like users playing yet. But you can see that there are already tags here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tags listed. And so you could kind of assume that those probably came from the developer. So that's important to note, that I do think the tags that you choose in your tag wizard, if there aren't any user tags, I do think that those actually show up and affect how you're presented in the algorithms. So again, this is really important. They have this really nice wizard that you can go through and say, and so we'll just kind of step through this really, really quickly again. This is going to be a casual game. They have within here, I don't know if we can find, do they have a trivia? They sure do. And so the brighter ones on the list are common amongst titles with top level genres that are similar to mine, and some may be more relevant than others. You can of course choose multiple things. So we're doing like a trivia. I don't know what other genre. I mean, maybe education. I don't know. It could maybe, my little trivia thing falls in. Maybe puzzle is like another one, but it's not really like a puzzle. I think just doing trivia is probably fine. I could also do education. I don't think that's unfair at all to say education in trivia. And yes, I mean, we could do puzzle. From what I understand, it's not necessarily like the more the better. It's more like the more accurate the better. So if I just stick with trivia, I'm just going to do that for now. And then subgenres. This is where you can get into maybe more specific things if you really wanted to. I'm in trivia, so it's only really showing me, or in casual, I guess is where it's pulling these like top level genre, is probably pulling from here. So I don't think there's really even anything super accurate to here. I mean, I do have spelling actually. That is actually, one of the mini games is a spelling game. So I think that's a pretty fair thing to choose. Great. And so then we get into visuals and viewpoints. And so this is kind of describing how the game looks. We are 2D all the way. We can add more things like colorful and cute. We don't have pixel graphics or anything like that. So that's fine. And then themes and moods, and you know where we're going here. My very favorite, the dog tag. I think that's really all we need. But it's worth, of course, going through and looking. Again, the brighter ones are like the more... Ooh, isn't it sad? They get cats is like one of the brighter, popular ones, and then they have dogs is like the dark, sad ones that no one uses. Come on, people. Need some more dog representation. Though Can You Pet the Dog is already a pretty good start, so you can't... I don't know if there's a Can You Pet the Cat yet, but they should probably make that too. Family friendly maybe would be another good one for us. Maybe nature, I don't know. Animals or nature, but I don't really think that makes sense. Again, I don't think it's the more tags the better. I think it's the more accurate the better, because it's going to help you find like the niche people or just looking for puppies and stuff. In terms of features, then you start getting into, here's a feature list. Again, this game isn't really like a traditional like Steam game, so a lot of these aren't going to really matter. Can you pet the dog in Halloween Hero? You can't, because you are the dog, and no one knows that you're a dog, by the way. So that is our secret lore for why no one is petting you. I don't think I don't even think that any of these really make sense, so I'm gonna skip that. It is single player, so we'll go ahead and add single player. And then what else? Is there anything else? This is where this can be really important, because you can also just type anything in here that you would like. So if we saw that something popped up and it was like, oh, I don't know, like what a tag would be. That's not what I want. That's not what I want. What kind of tag they have? Like pixel graphic, procedural generation. We kind of use procedural generation. I'll add procedural generation. How about that? So if for some reason we missed procedural generation, we could do procedural generation. Great. And then we have all of these three. Now, this is where it gets really important, because you end up with your final list, and it's really important because you can see the similar tagged games. So when you go again onto the Steam page, and in the bottom here, it's showing all the games that you are most similar to and what you have the greatest odds of being displayed on. These are it. So if you're seeing games that are like not anywhere close, then you need to kind of adjust some things. This is great because Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is pretty good. And also Photo Quiz Animals, I don't know anything, you can actually click these too. Hey, this looks a lot like mine. Oh, and wow, this is like our spelling game. And no shade, but I think ours is pretty good. But this is pretty accurate, as you can see. So this is maybe a good step. What I would probably do is put trivia as like the very first thing, and then probably dog as like the next thing. And you can see that, I mean, this starts changing things in real time. If I put procedural generation as like the very first thing, you have wobble dogs, which, you know, isn't really gameplay wise associated at all. But so yeah, as you can see that this is like, you know, the way that you would go about tagging your game. Really, really important in terms of the Steam algorithms. And so then, yeah, you would go ahead and publish those tags. I'm not going to, because I'm not actually going to publish this, but that is the Steam tagging process. Super, super important. Great. So we've finally made it through like the basic info. But I wanted to spend a good amount of time on that because it's also, in many ways, kind of one of the most important parts. But I'm going to go ahead and move along very quickly here again, just kind of flying through a lot of this stuff into the description tag. And a lot of these other ones won't take nearly as long. And some of these things we won't like even be able to do because there's just, we're not going to make a trailer. I don't have a trailer, so we're not going to do that. But we'll kind of talk about what the requirements are and what you need to do for that. Description, of course, you need your main description for the game. I already have one kind of hold up. It's like this. So I would say, yes, this is my description. And then you have your short description. And so to kind of contextualize this, I mean, this is like a really great, very simple Steam page. But you have your about this game. That's that first category here. And then you have your short description, which is you know, the short one that pops up here. From what I have heard in the little workshop that that I did, that someone linked, usually people will look first at like the art, and then at the trailer, and then the little description, or maybe it's even like the art, the little description, skip around. They won't even like watch it. They'll just kind of skip around inside of your trailer, which is why it's really important that it is basically solid gameplay, because you don't want to be sitting on a screen like that for like a really long time. Because they'll kind of be skipping around and just being like, oh, what is this? What is this? And then maybe at the very end, they'll like glance at something like this. And I know if it's me and it has like a little, do you want to expand? I'm like, no, I'm not going to like expand and read more of your feature list. So in terms of priority, it's, you know, important to start thinking about stuff like that. But yeah, so I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of best practices. I don't know any of them, but you know, you need a short description and like a full description of your game. I will, and then of course you can add any reviews that you've gotten. You know, the best way to do any of this stuff is by finding, again, a Steam page that you think is similar to your title, and then looking exactly what they have and seeing what are they doing well, what aren't they doing well, what can they do better, all these things. So you can add reviews, you can add awards, and those kind of pop up. I mean, I'll just show Soul, Steam. No. We don't want to show like the back end. We'll just show. I know that I have both reviews, which pop up here, and then also awards, which show up over here on the side. So you can include both of those. If you do awards, you could add you know, anything here, and then you can also add images. So that's what we chose to do on ours. And then a special announcement section. This is something I actually used in our Halloween thing, which I thought was kind of a clever way of using it. Again, I did this after our page was reviewed because I don't know if they would actually really like you to do this, because it's mainly for things for calling out product descriptions. These are typically used to share information about special editions, pre-purchase offers, or present a banner for your workshop. So it's kind of like for game features and things, but we don't really care about that and we don't have that. So instead, because this announcement shows up like before anything else, I use this as an opportunity to link to our Discord. And so right off the bat, you can join our Discord. Again, they apparently in the basic thing have a new option for linking to Discord. I don't know where that shows up, like on the page. Maybe it probably shows up like somewhere in here or something like that. But I wanted it nice and big for us. I was thinking this would be a great place to do like team credits. If you're working on like a Philly Game Mechanics game jam and you want to upload it to Steam under Philly Game Mechanics, I thought this would maybe be like a really great place to do that, because it pops up right before, outside of the traditional Steam page description. So something to think about too. You can do a lot of kind of creative things in all of these. So that's the description aspect. Then getting into ratings, this is like a pretty easy thing to do. If you have ratings from ESRB, PEGI, any of these things, you can enter them here. An easy way to do this is through the International Age Rating Coalition, I believe is the name of it. The IIAR. No. What about like games? Oh no, this is like rating. IARC. Okay, I was like really close, right? IARC, the International Age Rating. Yeah, that's what does it do? IA. No, okay, there's no extra I. IARC is the International Age Rating Coalition. That's typically kind of like the way of getting a rating now for a lot of games, because oh, please be quiet. When you get an IARC rating, you also get ratings for the ESRB and Australia and PEGI and Russia and whatever. And it's self-reported, because usually in the past you would have to get a rating by submitting to each of these agencies individually and paying a lot of money to get a rating, but you don't need to do that anymore. IARC. I don't know how to exactly do that. The easiest way that I know to do that is actually on Google Play. You can fill out like a survey when you're publishing on Google Play for an IARC rating, and it gives you it, and then you have all these ratings that you can apply in here, which is awesome. And then also, if you are self-distributing in Brazil, you need to agree. Oh yes, it's this. You need to do your own custom survey for releasing in Brazil. And this is very similar to like the IARC survey as well, where you just need to check which ones you are including in yours. And again, hopefully for our I can zoom in on this. Hopefully in our very cute little puppy game, we're not including a lot of cursing and nudity. I don't think animal nudity counts. I don't know. Anyway, so that's ratings. Early access, of course, is if you want to release in early access, you have to type in all these things. You just hit the checkbox and you type all that stuff in. Okay, great. And then we're getting into graphical assets. This is where things get really time intensive, and we're not going to go through too much of it. But at the basics, you need 5 store assets and 5 library assets. And the store assets are the header capsule, which I believe is this thing, the top right here. And then the small capsule, and these are, if you go, or actually I think it's these things, these smaller capsules, which are really usually like just the logo. And then the main capsule which is if you are, this is like the big one, right? These appear at the top of the front page. These are, I believe, like these, or wait, that might be a live, yeah, like this type thing. And then a lot of, I mean, yeah, here's the one that isn't like customized, right? I believe it's this art specifically, which is, I'm pretty sure, a different size than the other things that we've seen. And yeah, and I'll show the documentation here in just a second. And then the vertical capsule is, I don't actually know if I like have a way of showing. I will show the documentation for this. It's when you're in your Steam library, it shows up as that. And then the page background is kind of a splash image that shows in the background. And then, of course, you need your screenshots. And you have to provide at least 5. A really great idea. This, by the way, is the Steam documentation site. Just to like double check myself, I'll even open this up in Philly Game Mechanics tab. This is totally available to anyone even in the public to look at. I just put it here in the chat. Anyone at any time can go and look at this. So if you ever have any questions about like how to upload things to Steam or whatnot, that is the place to do it. And in here, a really great thing is the graphical assets, because it has a super great description of what all of these things are. So again, here's the header capsule. Actually, oh yeah, this is great. This is like an even more broken down. I think I got this right? The header capsule is like the thing that pops up in the top of your store page. And the small capsule is, again, like as you're scrolling through like new releases and recommended, it would pop up there. The main capsule is on the top of the Steam homepage. The vertical capsule, does that appear in your library? I don't know if it does. I don't think it does, actually. I think that's a different asset. But I guess this would be for like sales and things like that. Screenshots, of course, they have that. And they have, by the way, again, ideas for formatting and localizing and all kinds of things. And then page background is what shows in the background of your page, like as a very faint, if we go to Rust, and we're really old. Do they? Yeah, they do. Like in the background there, you can see like a really faint, I don't even know why they do this, but they have like a really faint background image that's like behind the main thing. You can upload a thing to that if you would like, so that's fun. And then bundles and stuff. The great thing about this, there is a magic little link here that says download templates. And Steam is very generous and have provided, if I can like open this, I'm on Mac, so nobody like laugh at me as I do this, but here is a downloadable folder, a zip folder that includes a lot of stuff. It also includes Photoshop files for what you would need for your Steam page, which I happen to have open right here. So this is, again, is the actual Photoshop file that they recommend for creating your main Steam capsule image, which again should be, oh, can I just like click on things, please? It'd be this one, or yeah, was it the header? See, this is a problem with trying to do this, is we're gonna have to do it like this. Well, this is the main, okay, so maybe it's not the header. Main capsule, capsule main. Aha, they look pretty similar to me. And so, yeah, the great thing about this is it also provides little things like this, where I'm forgetting. I feel with the workshop thing, I don't know if they. I'm pretty sure for the demo, they might automatically add some of these banners, and these might just be for planning purposes. You'd have to read the documentation. But anyway, if we wanted to, create, here's a puppy, and they're really cute, and we added like a background that is not yellow. Why would you do that? Can I make this yellow? Nope. Okay. I don't know how to use Photoshop, everyone. And then we gave it a logo. Oh my god. Top Dog Trivia, which is also, unfortunately, yellow. So that's not ideal. And also it's behind this. What is that? Make it purple? Oh, I can. Oh, there it is. Oh, this is perfect. This turned out, I don't know what font this is, but this is definitely the font that we're going to use. I like this quite a bit. All right, everyone. This is our really beautiful thing. And so I am going to export this as a PNG on my desktop. Great. And then I will go to my thing up top. And the cool thing about this is I can just drag this in from my desktop. Boop. And because it already knows the pixel size, it will say, yep, we know that this is your main capsule. And I'm like, great, perfect. So I'll go ahead and upload this. And then you can see that I have made progress. I now have 1 out of the 5 assets that I need. And you can see my beautiful little main capsule here. It's perfect. And yeah, I don't think that was the main capsule. That wasn't even the header. So like this won't even, no, that doesn't even happen. That's really sad. I should have chose the header one, or the header capsule. That's okay. But anyway, so that's the process for doing that. Dragging in screenshots, of course. You can order your screenshots how you want them to appear. So that, of course, is really important if you want to showcase certain things first. And then, similarly, you have your library assets. And these library things are what show up when the user has your game in their Steam library. These are the things that that help. And they have this really cool like little logo placement tool thing where you export your like key art or whatever art you want and your logo separately. And this is like not useful at all, really. But you can imagine, I mean, it kind of gives you like a little simulated view. Right here next to Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. So that will be really great for everyone to have in their libraries. And it'll kind of show you a little preview of how your logo is placed. And if you had a logo in a background, you could change how it's anchored and how it's positioned, which is super, super nice. All right, then getting into trailers, not even going to touch this really today. They take, of course, a lot of time. Important to note that the highest resolution that this can handle is 1920 by 1080, apparently. Because it says up to 1920 by 1080, so don't go thinking you can upload like 4K trailers to this. You can do 60 frames a second, though, and you can do it in all of these different formats. And you can do either 16 by 9 or 4 by 3, apparently. I don't know if I've ever even seen like a 4 by 3 trailer on Steam, but you know. And very importantly, it does mention, and you know, it's very tempting to kind of put like a cinematic trailer or like a trailer with a lot of like fancy effects and stuff in there. but they really, really, really emphasize, and we got flagged for this as well. In our first game, we have a very cinematic game, and we actually did show basically all gameplay, but they were like, no, that's not gameplay. Your trailer needs to be, and I was like, and so I think I wrote back to them and contested it, and it was like, no, this is gameplay. And they're like, oh, okay. But it's really important that you are showing gameplay, because again, from what I've heard, the way that people watch these things is and I didn't want to do that, and they just kind of skip around, and they're like, what is this game? And so the more like full screen things of like text or just slow cinematics and things that you have, the greater the chance that they like are just going to keep clicking around trying to find what is your game. And so yeah, you really want it to be like this very fast paced, like it depends on a lot on your style and everything, but you really want to be showing gameplay first and foremost. And you can also again upload multiple videos, multiple screenshots. You have to have at least 5 screenshots. You can have, it looks like a lot. I don't know why someone would need a listing that has like 30 screenshots or something like that, but I guess you can do that if you would like. Then like a mystery trailer, like at the very back, I wonder what that is. Maybe you could do like a secret. It'd be really interesting if someone made like a weird ARG where like there were like 100 pictures and you had to scroll through them and piece together the information. Someone should do that. But anyway, that's the trailers. Special settings, if you have tracking stuff, that's important. If you have downloadable content, you can associate that. Any demos, you can also associate that in there. I don't know what this Steam playtest thing is. It sounds cool. I don't know if Kanan has anything about that, but and then of course the broadcasting feature is a thing. I haven't touched any of the broadcasting features on Steam. I know that they're a great way of engaging with the community and having people just kind of sit on your store page. So that's probably important, but I unfortunately don't really know anything about it, but you can configure all of that stuff here. And then finally, publishing. I can't do that because my thing isn't published and like won't be. So anyway, that covers a lot of, I know that was like a ton of information, but that covers a ton of the front-facing stuff. And if you go through and do all that stuff, you should end up with, I think, all of these things. Basic info and description, mature content settings, self-rated questionnaire, the release date we already have here, system requirements, screenshots, all the store images, all the library images, your support info so they can reach out for calling or emailing or anything like that, developer and publisher name, your tags, using the tag wizard. Community, did we look at the community icon? No, because this is in the different... So that's strange. Okay, well, you will need to do that. We'll talk about that whole process. We'll just go through that. There's really only like these 2 main areas. So we're getting there. And again, this next one we won't be able to do too much with it. But community things you do need to implement. That's more when they go to your community hub. There are assets. And you need, I don't even know like what they are. I don't know. I guess they have a background here. A lot of this is user generated stuff, but maybe some like the discussions. There's somewhere somehow you do art that's shown in your community pages, and that's what this is. And of course, if you have cloud saves and Steam achievements, you need to configure those. So yeah, and then getting into your game build, because that's kind of the second half of this. Operating system support, by the way, is something that you configure in the back end of your thing, saying on your Steam page, you would say, yes, my game does Windows and Mac. And then in the back end, you need to configure the different depots to say, here's my Windows depot and here's my Mac depot. And you can separate the different builds like that. In terms of game build, we'll just go through... So everything we just looked at was in your edit store page. That's where probably I spend the vast majority of my time. The other half of my time I usually spend is in this side, which looks very similar in terms of like the navigation and everything. But it's just setting up like the back end. So again, I just talked about like the supporting operating systems. So you'd go in here and say, yes, you know, it supports Windows and Mac. The release date is unavailable right now, but you could go in and adjust that as needed. And then community visibility, I don't know, will be visible and the app can appear in community profiles and owners. Oh, interesting. I don't really know why you would want to mess with these things, but yeah. Yes, I think Canada would be really great to get your input on this. But it's important to note that within these, I think unlike kind of that other menu, you do really kind of go through and have to click into all of these separate things individually. And that can be quite tedious, but it gets into, you know, here's like the Steam Deck input, I guess, and here's like the Steam Cloud configuration, which we've, you know, it's actually not super hard to set up cloud saving. If you know like what directory your save file gets saved to, you can kind of easily set that up. And you have to set up a lot of configuration things in terms of you know, how much space you need and things of that nature. But that's a really great tool. Remote play, I never messed with that, so I haven't messed with those settings before. Virtual reality, I haven't really messed with those things, but this would be all the stats you need for virtual reality. Dedicated servers, if you have online servers, you'd need that. The Steam pipe is where things get really interesting. I don't know if anyone would want to jump in and talk about their experience with that.
Do you want me to jump in now, or you wanna leave me up to it a little bit? What do you want to do?
If you have things that are ready to go, I say let's go in and jump in real quick and just show them kind of how that looks.
Okay. Sure. All right. 1 second.
I definitely don't want to miss this. The rest of this isn't super important. We'll kind of go through some of these things, but
yeah, I
mean the build process.
Yeah. So my goal with sharing with what I'm sharing right now is going to be to tell a little bit about my experience with what is most important for getting the job of releasing a game done. This game that I've been working on for like the past 2.5 months or so, like the number one thing has been on my mind is just release the game, right? And so I want to share, you know, a little bit. I don't want to be too long-winded, but I want to share like just the process and some things that like some problems that I ran into that would probably save. I mean, pretty sure will save you quite a bit of time, you know, like when trying to deal with uploading your projects, or you know, or whoever you're working with to upload the project. So Tom left off with the depots, and that is actually quite an impactful, important part of that whole process of releasing the game. So I'm working with the playtest version of the game, but I'm very sure that I'm working with like the actual full release is very much the same. So I'll talk in terms of, you know, working with the playtest though, just because that's what I'm working with directly right now. So when it comes to using depot, so first of all, the word depot, it means essentially just your files, like, and I'm gonna go ahead and pull up right here. Like when you're working with the Steam, I guess this is the Steam SDK. Is that some sort of like NDA for this? Like I don't even know if I'm not supposed to really.
I don't think so. I believe there used to be an NDA for sharing the back end, but I believe that has been lifted. If we get in trouble, I'm sorry.
Listen. All right, listen. I look. It's a small game. So let's see here. When it comes to the SDK, through the Steam documentation, I'm gonna leave a link for this, like where exactly to download this. It shouldn't be NDA because you can get it from the Steam documentation. But
Yeah, everything is publicly downloadable and everything too. So
yeah. So I'll leave a link of where to actually download this folder here, right? So you can go into the SDK, and go into the tools, and the way that this works is very interesting. Is actually a whole file system that uploads and works together with the Steam platform to with your content, right? So like for those of you who've actually made a build with Unity before, just like you would make a build and store it onto a folder on your computer, you, instead of just having it on your computer, you can actually just build it into this file folder, which I will show you where it is right now. So let's see here in the content builder. Yeah, so in the content builder, the folder is really named the content builder because this is where you will be to build the content onto Steam. And in this content folder, I actually have the content right here. So this is where Unity directly builds the whole game. So whenever I make any updates in Unity, you know what I'm saying? Like I can go right here, click Control B. I'm not going to do it, and it'll all my data will be right there, and it'll pull. And using some file SDK programming, it'll just pick off this folder. It'll ignore this right here. This being here is not named correctly to do anything. Let's see here, and yeah, so it'll go. You know what I'm saying, and grab the content from that folder. Let's see here, and that's what I wanted to talk about when it came to depots, because there's a big difference between this and actually trying to upload a zip folder, at least in my experience. So like at first I tried to upload a zip folder of just the Unity build, which Steam provides a way to do it. Let's see here if it's right here. So like right here, upload depots as zip directly without using Steam command, which is in this file folder right here, which I'll show you a little bit more about that. Right? Upload depots, blah blah blah. Click here. Right? It has a 2040 megabyte max. So if your build is more than 2 gigabytes, don't use this. Right? Mine isn't. But for some reason this doesn't work. I don't know why it doesn't work. I've done this. I uploaded the zip. Yeah. So
yeah, historically that's been really finicky and flaky with us as well. Trying to upload like via that upload file.
Yep. So exactly. So I say avoid this. Don't worry. What you want to do instead is actually set this bad boy up right here. And configuring depots. Let me see if I can remember really briefly how to set this up. Let's see here. Depot. Manage depot separately. There's an installation. Distribution. Is it over?
The nice thing is once you do set up a depot, you kind of like don't need to do it again that much.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do get through that first process, it's pretty good.
I'm trying to think. Tom, you think you can help me out? Like there's an actual area here where you need to connect the depot.
Yeah, and this is where it can definitely, there's like I feel like in the documentation there's pretty good walkthroughs of like exactly how to do this. I believe that the way you get to this, if you're thinking what I'm thinking, is in the top of kind of your dashboard for your thing. There's a section called Store Packages, Pricing, and Release Dates. And when you click on this, you can go in and add an application, and then you add the application, and you add depots, and you add depots here. And so once you've created the depot, you have to add the depot and the application. They have to match, and yeah, it's a whole thing.
So I think I actually you reminded me. It's this right here, right? So so on if you're looking from the app admin, you'll be able to see this just like from your dashboard. Honestly, like you can go to your dashboard, go to the app admin, store admin, or just click on the actual build. I clicked on the build for the third power play test. Going right here, all associated package right at the top, DLC, demos, and tools. Let's see here.
Mhm.
So right here, there we go. So yeah, like I just have a depot that is attached to like when you first make the app, I believe you'll actually just see the app right here. Yeah, like it has developer packages, and by default it makes a developer package for you. I remember this just being, and when you click on one of these packages that have been automatically made for you, don't quote me on that because my memory of that is actually not super great. I just know for a fact that once I found this area, the whole depot thing became a lot clearer for me. So here you're actually able to add the app you're talking about in specific. So the playtest is what I'm talking about in specific. And you'll be able to it'll show up in a list right here, like what is it? Whoa, numbers. Let's see here. Yeah, like I really wish I could explain this a little bit better. Maybe like next meeting, I could come back and explain this a lot better. But this part right here is where you'll actually be able to include a depot that you've made into a package, and it's only then that you're actually able to go back to the Steamworks admin and go back to where I was before, right? So I'm in the admin back. Let's see, the depot. And by configuring the depot and like putting it in that red bar that I showed you, and I clicked on it, and I was in the add remove depot section. I added this depot right here, and and in this area, now that this is here, it makes it so when I see it now, it makes it so like it's so convoluted. Right.
Yes.
But yeah, once I did that, I was actually able to work with the Steam SDK and upload through the Steam SDK. Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if my memory is like failing me a little bit.
Yeah, no, I think this is a great kind of exploration. The setup of this entire system takes the longest, but once you have it all set up, both on the back end and on your computer and everything, then the process is like pretty seamless. It's really easy, but you have to make sure that the depot and the application and all that stuff they're all matched up together and they're all like configured correctly. Once you finally do have that, as you can see here in the Steam pipe, you have all the builds right that are here. You can choose what branch you want to have them go live to. I don't know if you use branches, but in the past we've used like a production branch, an alpha branch, like a beta branch. You can set up those different types of things, and that can be like a really powerful way of distributing different builds to different testing groups and things of that nature. So there's a lot of flexibility in there that once you do get it configured correctly, yeah, it is a really powerful tool.
Yeah. So I think the last thing I want to do, which is a lot simpler and clearer, is like just actually show the upload process and like the process of doing the update. So that goes back to the SDK, right? So say I make an update to the project right here, right? Say I delete this, right? I'm not actually going to delete it, right? But I delete this, and then you know, I make a new build. The new build is now updated right here, and then using the Steam command. So the Steam command is, again, it's in this builder folder. So you have the content builder folder, and then the builder folder. The Steam command is like an actual application just built by Steam. It's really cool. It's a little console here, and this is what you use to actually access the content here and upload the content. So this command line here will dig into your file folders, find the content, upload it up onto the stream, right? And let's see here. So I like using this simple app build script. Let's see. So it has like little scripts here. This Steam command is accessing these scripts in order to make builds out of the build in your content folder. And by using the app ID, which is it's on Steam, your Steam app has an app ID to actually identify which application that you're referring to in your Steamworks account. And it also accesses the depot ID, so that goes back into the whole concept of the depot thing and making things lined up and all that. You know, you have that set up. And so like this right here, this is the simpler way to do it. I could get into setting up with these three different files right here, which all work together in kind of a more complex way. Which I'm pretty sure is for like if you want to upload separate packages separately or something like that. I haven't gotten into that. So, but I'm gonna show how to, how this goes about. So I have the app ID for the playtest right here, and then the depot ID right here. And then you actually have to log in to the Steam command, like every time you use it. So it has like this is like the login is like code. It's a prompt to tell the Steam command to be like, you want to log into your Steam worker. That's what you have to do every time. Videos. And then you actually put your password in. I'm gonna just put password here right now. Like pretend that's my password, and it'll work like this. That's not my actual password, so I'm actually gonna pull that off. And put my actual password. Let's see.
And there is, by the way, I did want to mention, I don't know if you've noticed this, but there is actually, if you're like me and are afraid of the command line, there is actually a visual application. It's called the SteamPipe GUI tool.
Oh yeah,
SteamPipe GUI tool. And if you are like me and are afraid of getting into the command line, there's a visual interface that you can use that is just like a little window that pops up, and you can just use that to and I'm not sure where that lives, but it's somewhere in the SDK, and it actually makes it, for me, it's a lot easier than getting into the command line and typing things in like that. And so if you're afraid of the command line like I am, then that's a really great tool for you too.
Okay. But yeah, so yeah, like here I'll because you can actually find this Steam command GUI.
Yep. Steam or SteamPipe GUI tool or something. Again, in the documentation, they kind of you know, explain exactly how to do it. It's really easy, really simple. I don't know if there's like any pictures of it, but and we don't need to, you know, walk through the entire process. The point is you run those commands that you were just talking about, and then yes, the build that you upload will appear in the depots that you configured. You can select the branch you want to be going into, and yeah, it'll upload and it will be ready for you to. The great thing is if your account has access to this, you can download it and access it directly through Steam, even if it's not publicly released. And so you can kind of really get a feel for exactly how it's going to appear before you actually release, which is a really great experience. So there's so much to talk about for like the development side of things. Again, I wanted to make this more on the visual side of things because it's a little easier to kind of walk through without having like, you know, live production things. So certainly we can, you know, at some point return to this and do like a more extensive tutorial on the exact process of like, here's how you set up your depot and like, here's how you, you know, go and do all this stuff. But it is, you know, the good part about all this is there is a lot of documentation from Steam and a lot of YouTube videos as well, kind of walking through, here's exactly how you set up your Steam page or your Steam depots and your build configuration. So if you ever get stuck with any of that stuff, it's one of those things where, again, you do it once and then you don't really need to do it again. So like, I've already kind of forgotten a lot of like the really small details. You kind of have to figure it out as you go. But certainly if anyone has any trouble with these things, a lot of us in the community have experience doing it. So just feel free to ping the game dev help channel or anything like that. And someone can probably point you in the right direction for it.
Sure, yeah.
So yeah. Great. Well, it's already getting to 9:30, so I do want to wrap up really quickly here, because there's so much that we could talk about. But you know, I want to try and wrap things up the best I can. At the end of the day, when we have, and thanks so much, Kenan, for sharing all that stuff. That was so useful. Way more than I ever could have shown with like my non-existent game build setup. So again, thank you so much for sharing that. But to kind of wrap things up, you know, we talked through a lot of the material you're going to be needing for your store presence, for your actual like game listing. Specifically looking at the graphical assets and the descriptions, the written text are going to be your main things. And again, those all get manually reviewed by the Steam team. And then we kind of dipped our toes a little bit into like the game building process. Configuring everything, again, all of that is so important, making sure that you specify where the game is actually installed to on the user's machine, having your languages, having all your packages set up correctly. It's a lot of like technical kind of back and forth that, again, you know, we really have to like sit down and have an application that we're actually trying to upload to really get through. But once you have all of those things, you should be able to get a little button that pops up and it says submit for review, and you're like, yes, do it. They're like, okay, we'll see you in 2 and 3 days or something. You do that for both of them, you get them approved, and you are ready to go for release, again with a caveat that your page must be up for 2 weeks before launching. So I think with all of that said, we've covered a ton here today, but we've also only scratched the surface. If anyone in the community has any questions specifically about Steam publishing and things of that nature, definitely reach out in the Game Dev Help channel that we have here in the Discord. And we are always happy to help each other out. Because yeah, having more Philly games shipping to like the wider community of gamers is always really exciting. So I think that's where I'm going to leave it off for today. It's kind of our 9:30 kind of target cutoff. But if anyone has any questions immediately, I'm happy to stay on and kind of answer any remaining questions. But other than that, I think We are still kind of planning the content of our next meeting. There's some discussions I need to have with everyone about like where we're going next. I will follow up, but we will have another meeting in August, so be on the lookout. It will very likely be 2 weeks from now. But kind of keep your eyes out, and I will be posting on Discord as soon as we have any information about our next meeting. But until then, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Yeah.
That's like a great. You can cut off YouTube, but if anyone does have any questions, I can stay on and just kind of poke around in anything if anyone has any specific things. But.
All right, that is the end of the stream. Thanks so much for watching. This was an awesome meetup. I really appreciate Tom taking control here and getting everybody all this great information. It was cool to see the folks do show and tell in the beginning, and then the how to build a Steam page workshop went really well. Tom running through all that different stuff, and then Keenan jumping in to show a lot of their experience as well with their team. So we'll probably do another one of these, and then if we end up having one of the teams who wins one of our Steam-centered game jams decide that they would want to go forward with us helping them to build a Steam listing and for Philly Game Mechanics to pay for that Steam listing, then we'll probably go through this process again on stream with one of those specific games. So yeah, if that kind of stuff interests you, then please, first and foremost, go to our Discord page and join the Discord to participate in these meetups. But most importantly, in the case of us being able to continue to broadcast on YouTube, please like this video by clicking the like button down below. Please click the subscribe button. And then when the little bell icon pops up, please click on that, which is the notification bell. It's saying all. I want all notifications of this channel because you want to always know when we are going live. We try to put out at least a few hours before the notification that we're going to be going live on YouTube. So if you want to watch there. But like I said, a really fun thing to do is to join our Discord page. You go to phillygamemechanics.com. All right, sorry about that. Yeah, please go to the Discord page, phillygamemechanics.com, click on the Discord link, and join our Discord channel. We ask that you read our rules channel and read our code of conduct on our website. All of our code of conduct goes from our in-person meetings all the way through our online spaces. We always try and make sure that space feels inclusive and feels safe for everyone. And yeah, and if at any point you have questions about anything, you can message the moderators, or you can message the Discord server admins, which are the folks at the very, very top of the Discord. But yeah, won't let it drag on any longer. Like I said, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, come join our Discord, and check us out on all the other social media that's there on our website. You know, we're always trying to post stuff as much as possible. Sometimes we go a couple months without posting anything, but the best way to see what we're doing is to participate in our meetups and yeah, be involved. So thanks so much. Really appreciate it. We hope to see you again soon. Have a good